Would you feel more secure if you had a degree? Do you need some help to apply for a grant or a loan for college tuition? Would you like, can I pay for this? Can I give you some tutoring? Oh, thank you so much. A healthy person, by the way, will always say yes to something like this if it is being given in service. Now, there's a lot of dirt in confusion, because if someone is doing this out of lust and the person isn't taking their pants off fast enough, there's going to be tension, and who wants that? So this is one of the resistance points to gifts. But if you are being loving because you've decided to do that, is truly about the other. And there's no judgment, by the way. I'm not saying you should not have lust or pursue your lust or anything. There's no shoulds. We're just talking about the fact that lust, need and attachment, romantic idealism, and joy in the presence are self-referencing and self-centered. And that being loving is more of an action and more of a state, and it is a disciplined choice. The choice to serve someone else in climbing Maslow's hierarchy of needs: security, survival, love and attachment, self-esteem, self-actualization. And this is more of a parent's love with a child, if it's truly a healthy and selfless relationship, that I'm going to make you feel safe. I'm going to make you feel secure in that safe, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and financially. I'm going to slowly teach you how to be in the world. I'm going to love you and help you feel secure attachment, and I'm not going to get a divorce and do this and that and the other, and you're going to be safe. And I'm going to help you find good friends so that you have love and attachment, and pay attention to friends that actually can be loving. And then we're going to learn to help you have skills, and you'll feel good about yourself because now you learn this and you learn that. And if you don't know how to do that, we'll get you a tutor and this and that and the other. And we're going to spend time together so you feel important and valuable. And your feelings are going to be welcome, and so that you feel loved, that we know who you are. And if you hate us, we're going to look at what we did that made you hate us, where you're feeling powerless. You can never talk back to grandma because we give you dirty looks and you don't want to disappoint us, but you hate the way she makes you feel like a slut. And this, okay, thank you for telling us your hate, and it makes perfect sense. And I'll ask grandmother to stop doing that, and you can tell us if we're doing okay. Okay, that hate has lifted off, and now you feel you have self-respect because you talk about your feelings and this and that and the other. And so in this kind of a dynamic with helping a child into self-esteem, and then discovering their talents, like, are you good at painting or music or architecture or sexuality? What are you good at, and what do you love exploring? And then ultimately, as you feel the fullness of yourself and want to transcend, how do you be of service, and how can we be a part of that in your life? Wow. And then, do you feel loved by us? Is there anything we could do more? What's bothering you the most? Are you feeling guilty? Are we making you feel like you're useless because we're doing all this and not giving you a chance to give back? Okay, thank you, okay. What we would love to receive this and this back. And so, how are we doing? Do you feel loved? Am I helping you become all that you are, meeting your needs, all the way up into transcendence? Every single human being, particularly as they start exploring their spirituality in one form or another, needs to contribute, needs to have a legacy, to make a difference in other people, needs to have their love go out and touch other people. So how can they do that? What's their best avenue? This is love and being loving to help someone on this path. And the healthiest role of the masculine principle, which is doing, strategizing, thinking, fixing, planning, discipline, choice, writing lists, making plans. The healthiest role of the masculine is to serve and protect the feminine in the self and in another, in the self and in the community. And the feminine is the joy, the innocence, the desire, the feeling of love, the joy, the wonder, the circle. the possibility field, feminine. To protect that with the discipline. I'm not going to eat 3 pieces of cake because, masculine, because I want to be there for my child's interview tomorrow, protecting the feminine, and I want to be at my best. I'm going to go running because I like myself more and I'm nicer to the kids after I go running. I'm not going to take a turn towards that bar because half the time I stop, and when I have 1 beer, I have 5 and I hurt my wife. So I'm going to take another turn. I'm going to block this number from this drinking buddy and write him a long letter so that he understands that I hope he joins me in sobriety. And if he does, I'll be there to champion him. But meanwhile, I'm not going to accept his drunken calls anymore. So I'm going to start running. I'm going to start doing exercise. What could I do to be the best person for my feminine self? Now, this means resurrecting the felt emotional self that was crushed in school, that was crushed in parenting. I don't care what you feel like. I could give a shit what you want to do. I could give a shit what you're thinking about. Go and clean your room. I don't care if you want to eat this. Eat this food and eat it all or you will be punished. I don't care the fact that nobody's used algebra in the last 100 years. You ignore your feelings, ignore your social relationships, ignore your lust, ignore all your curiosity, and study the damn algebra. And I don't care what the reason is, you get good grades. I don't care about your body. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about your needs. I don't care about even your thoughts. Shut up and do this. This cultural message devastates the child and the psyche in a relationship of incredible power dominance, often coupled with abuse. Now that has to be broken to come back into, it's an amazing thing, but I've asked hundreds of women, what would I have to do to make you feel completely and totally loved? This is a masculine drive out of a feminine caring to be loving. And no one to a woman has ever asked a single one of them, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, 6 decades in our culture, and not one human being has ever asked that question. But the truth is, to be loving is a pattern of behavior. It's a pattern of behavior that helps, in the healthiest sense, people climb their needs, or if it's been crossed in language, etc., creates high arousal. If lust has been mixed with the sense of love, with and crossed with violence, and it can be, well, tie me to a bed with this and then that and do this and that would make me feel loved. This is when you need to uncross this, because there is an internal sense of love and there is an objective sense of love. The objective sense of love is the willed discipline to attune to the other person's regulated process of meeting their needs to survive, feel secure, belong and feel loved, have self-esteem, develop their gifts, and ultimately be so happy with themselves and develop their gifts to a point where they transcend their sense of selfishness and give to the world. In the study of the healthiest, happiest people on earth throughout history, Maslow has found this pattern, that these are the people who love themselves. These are the people who feel loving to others. These are the people who are moving on this path that are creating sustainable, healthy environments for others as well. So there's an objective sense. Now, when someone says, what would help me feel safe would be to drive me to the airport at 11 p.m., and you say, yeah, I don't want to do that, but show up in your nightie the next day. You're not dealing with being loving, you're dealing with lust. When someone says, what would help me feel loved is if you stop smoking because I want to quit, and we have a conversation and do a ritual every night instead of smoking to help us get through it. And you say, yeah, I want to smoke. That's not being loving, that's the selfishness, And so it's without judging selfishness, it's important to have the distinction also because, I've had women come to me and talk about how much they need me, how much they love me, and how much they insist that I do something that isn't me, takes me away from where I want to go, isn't consistent with my values, and doesn't make me happy. But they need me, and they want me, and I'm the only one, and I've got to do it for them because they love me so much. I.e., they want to fuck me, and they need me, and maybe I'm doing something for their romantic ideals. But when someone is being loving to you when they do the exact opposite. When someone enters your space and says, what can I do to make you feel loved and supported today, right now, in your life in general? Nothing at all? What about this? What about that? How about on this level? Are your needs being met here? How about this? How about that? Okay, you don't want to let me in? Would you feel better if you didn't have someone in your life asking these questions? Okay, I'm gone. But if so, okay, let's get to work and do that. How are you feeling? You're feeling safer? Feeling more secure in your safety? You feel like you belong more? How are you feeling? What's going on? Are your friendships growing? Is this new man you met helping, is he accepting this part of you or is he shaming it? So belonging isn't being met. Sex is being met, but belonging isn't. Okay, good for your physical needs. But do you know how to find a man in this culture who actually wants to accept the beauty of your feminine side? Do you know how to do it? Do you want to learn how? Do you want to learn what a profile looks like that looks like that? Do you want to learn what a protocol looks like? So you do this with your feminine self, and then an honoring man will do this, this, or this, and a dishonoring man will do this. You see? And you want to try it? Let's see. We'll write 100 emails. Okay. Oh, 3 of them look like they're honoring. You want to go meet them? Do you want me to come? What would feel safe to you? How you think you're doing? Are you feeling safe? Are you feeling panic that who you really are isn't welcome? What's going on? You see, this is climbing the needs. Oh, you feel claustrophobic. I'm talking too much. Okay. I'll be silent. Or how would you like to direct the conversation? And I want to be in service. And, oh, you don't know? No problem. You don't know. We'll find out. Let's do 3 tests. I'll lead on the one day, we'll partner on the other day, and you lead on the next day, and let's see did you learn something all 3 days? What do you value? And the security part goes in teaching someone how to fish. Feed them for a day, teach them to fish, feed them for a lifetime. This creates security. You know how to make your own. And this is another general movement towards being loving. If you are helping someone to learn how to make money, learn how to articulate, learn how to eat well and take care of their health, learn how to take great care of their body, learn their full sexuality and pleasure, learn how to communicate their full sexuality and pleasure, prepare accident insurance for this, that, and the other. Learn what country is their favorite country and how to get there. Learn how to transport and ride a car and do this. And for many of us, basic skills, but not everyone has that. If someone is learning how to add value to their money, how to invest money, how to do this, if someone is learning these things, they're going to feel more and more confident, how to save money for an emergency. What's a good ratio? Reading books together about this, doing it, what's in the problem, how about addiction, how about trauma, do you know about trauma, do you know how to deal with it, can you tell the symptoms, do you know how to get out of a situation when someone wants to have sex with you and you don't want to in a safe way? Well, do you want to study it, And so there's a hierarchy of needs, and what you find is that when people are safe, secure, loved, and feel good about themselves, they climb up into a state of profound love. And you don't, I say this is being loving, you don't even have to love the person in terms of a feeling. You don't have to feel lust, you don't have to feel pleasure. It's a discipline. But the person who you love, one of the cues of that will be that they will not hate you. That means you haven't attuned enough to them. Maybe you've made them feel weak because they've been barraged with all the cultural bullshit how receiving is weak. They don't possibly understand within the chauvinism of the culture how helping someone could be a joy. And they feel inadequate because you know something they don't know, and they resent you for that. But at the end of it, when they know what they want to know and are the people they want to be, they will feel loved. And they will feel, in the most human sense, grateful. If they don't, probably you've done something wrong, or there's been a cultural bullshit where they're suppressing their gratitude. Again, gratitude in a chauvinistic culture is weak. In a scientific culture, it is human. When you are loved by another human being, gratitude and joy, safety and openness, great pleasure is the most normal emotion, going back to this chemistry of the emotion. And the only interference pattern is if a big cultural brainwashing comes in and says, all that's feminine, gooey woo-woo stuff, and you make me feel like one of those, and those are useless people because they're feminine, and we're a bigoted, chauvinistic culture, and da-da-da-da-da. Well, it's, of course, a sad pity that we do live in that level of stupidity, which we do. There's a couple of other things I want to share briefly, which is love language. There is good research to suggest that there are different languages of love. One of them is words of appreciation and praise. One of them is quality time. One of them is acts of service, car repair, ride to the airport, cooking, etc. One of them is gifts, chocolates, cards, daffodils, flowers. And one of them is touch. Now, if someone primarily experiences the sensation and feeling of love through touch, and you buy them chocolates, nothing. You spend lots of time with them, nothing. If you fix their car, nothing. If you kiss them in just the right way and hold them in just the right way, they explode into an ecstasy and feel deeply and totally loved. And if you don't do that, they don't feel loved. If someone needs romantic gifts and you fix their car, it's like, yeah, thank you for fixing my car, but that doesn't do it for me. I'm still waiting for the flowers. What do you mean? The car cost $1,200. I spent all day. Yeah, and you're greasy and you're smelly, and that's very nice for a friend, but it doesn't turn me on. Where's my flowers? Fine, I'll get you the $5 flowers. What can hurt people a lot is if they give a lot of love in a language that the other person doesn't register as love. And don't give love in the area the other person does register as love. And as a result, One person is draining themselves giving and not being honored for it. The other person is waiting and not feeling loved. This happens all the time. Work around, read the book, The 5 Love Languages, take the test, learn what your language is. There's another very, very big principle around love, which is attunement. Let's take time. Do you like to talk 30 seconds and then interrupt and be interrupted? Or do you like to talk for 3 minutes and be interrupted or interrupt? The person who likes to talk for 3 minutes, who's interrupted at 30 seconds, feels crowded, experiences a violation of their rhythm, because it is violated. Shorter rhythms always violate longer rhythms. If one person is hanging out together in luxurious time and would like the date to end in about 3 days, and at the 3-hour point, their date says, "Oh, I've got to go." It's like, where did that come from? There is a violation of the rhythm of time. Same is true in reverse. You're stuck in a car. I want to go home now. Oh no, we're not going home now. We've got to drive over the Catskills, round here, spend the night, and then we're going to come back tomorrow, but I want to go home now. Well, sorry you can't. There's a violation of the rhythm. So, attunement around the time in conversation, the duration of a date, how long a relationship lasts, how soon before you have sex, how close after sex before you go to sleep versus cuddling and integrating, how soon before you talk about intimate details. I told you my intimate details on the first day and I feel completely left out to dry because you don't tell anyone your intimate details for 3 weeks. And for 3 weeks, I'm like, hello, where's, what? Are you going to tell me anything? Or are we just going to go out for coffee? Timing. I want to get up slowly at 8 a.m., leisurely breakfast, take turns making it, then go out on the balcony, have a chat, go in for some love making. And around 11:30 a.m., I want to go to work. Well, that's great. I like to get up at 6 a.m., go do my meditation for two hours, then go straight to work, and I like open evenings. In fact, around 10 p.m. is when I start to open up, turn off the phone, and I like to go to bed around 2 a.m. and this and that and the other. It's like, well, that doesn't work. I have a free time on a Wednesday afternoon after playing golf with so-and-so, and then all Saturday afternoon and an occasional weekend. Well, I have a free time at Thursday morning. I'm completely booked Wednesday afternoon, and I do my weekends on Thursday and Friday because a lot of my customers want to meet me on the weekend. The chemistry of time is an enormous part of attunement. And then there's the spontaneity of time. I want to call up and hear a yes. Hey, do you want to come over? Yes. Well, that doesn't work for me at all. What you need to do is text me, then text me again, and we can make an appointment in 2 weeks at this and this place. Well, I don't like that place. So we have time, we have place, we have, and so attunement is a very, very, very big deal in whether or not a relationship has any possibility. And one of the best things to do in kind of opening up possibility is to map out all one's preferences, routines, and commitments. Look at what is set in stone as a strong commitment, attachment, obligation. Look at what could change but is currently this case. Look at what is a preference, like this is just my sleep routine. And then see where you can connect around time in conversation, in dates, in growth of relationship, and in spending time together. Because time alone, among many, many variables, will make or kill a relationship. There's a final part that's very important in relationship, and it's called paradigms. And I'll give you 2 examples. A surfer drives by the ocean many times, often visits other countries, looks at different seasons, and they recognize a good wave when they see one. They're excited by a beautiful wave. They get their board out. They paddle out, and then they wait. And the waves come and the wave go. And then they find the perfect wave, and they paddle it into the shore. And they feel elated. Done. Then they go off, find another wave. A surfer in romantic relationships gouges the air, the tune, the time of year, etc., looks for an amazing partner for a magical experience. In just the right moment, they've got their pot organized, their marijuana. Then they're done. And a house builder does something very different. They figure out how many rooms they want in their house. This is another paradigm. They figure out how many rooms they want in the house. They figure out what they'll do in the house, how many pots they need for this and that and the other. And they make lots and lots of plans and sketches and drawings. They meet with architects and this and that and the other. Then they look for the right piece of land that can park enough cars and this and that and the other. Then they go out and they look for a builder to help build the house together. And they budget for this and they budget for that. Now, when a surfer and a builder meet in relationship, the builder is looking to build a family, build a life, do this and that and the other in methodical steps. The surfer is looking for the wave. They may be attracted to each other. There may be a good moment that the surfer sees and they ride the wave to the beach and the surfer says, "Au revoir." Off he goes. The house builder is, what the fuck just happened? We didn't figure out what the rooms would be. We established we had a sexual rapport. Where's the meeting to look at the land? Well, what about this? They just fuck me and are off. It's like, what's going on here? A house builder doesn't understand the surfer paradigm. The surfer doesn't understand the house building paradigm. Nobody talks in Western culture about paradigms in relationship. That's part of the myopia of an emotionally illiterate and chauvinistic culture in which feelings and relationships, feminine, are supposed to just take care of themselves. Jets, of course. We've got to study how to fly a jet 5-6 years. We've got to exercise. We've got to do checklists for jets because jets are important. They're masculine emblems of economic profit and power. So we can't crash jets, but relationships, they can crash every day. Now, paradigms are essential to understand. And it's essential to be humble to the fact that there are infinite paradigms. Surfer, house builder, relationship grower, addictive comfort, buddy and friend, companion through life, one true love, divine partner. There are so many paradigms, and they each have a script and different roles to play to make the paradigm work. The house builder looks for someone who is stable, will show up to build the house with them, who will show up to tend the house with them, that will plan it together, that will share their idea for this kind of architecture or that kind of architecture, that will put up half the money preferably and do this, and you're a great house builder. We build this life together, and then every year we're going to improve it incrementally, and in 10 years we're going to be millionaires with this beautiful house, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and the surfer will just be out catching waves again. Now, this is wonderful if you're on the same page. Unfortunately, in our culture, we just have playboy, playgirl, ready to settle down. These are not adequate paradigms. Spiritual seeking through tantric sexuality, growth partner, sexual titillation. There are so many reasons to connect with someone, and many of them are not conscious. We're drawn to something we don't understand, and it is essential that we do. So I would just say that attuning around paradigm is a key aspect of love. And finally, we've got a very interesting brain aspect, which is that pain, fear, shame, and threat register 5 times louder in the brain than joy, compliments, pleasure, etc. If your partner beats you once and then massages you for 7 days, that's a 1 in 7 ratio. 1 beating to 7 massages. That is not how the brain experiences balance. The brain does not say, that's a great relationship. Sure, I'll take a beating for 7 massages. That's 1 beating, 7 massages. I'm in the profit. You cheat 2 times a year, and you're faithful 358. Not a bad return on investment? Okay, you're the man for me. It's not, the brain greatly exaggerates the negative out of a survival mechanism that has amplified trauma sensitivity, threat, etc. And the fact is, when the traumatic symptoms and the traumatic brain is engaged through anticipated trauma, it induces a reptilian phenomena that precludes all love. Fear literally overshadows love in a biological phenomena. You cannot feel love unless there is trust and security in that trust. It's a grayscale, obviously. If you don't trust someone to bring your sandwich, you can still feel some irritation and love, etc., unless the sandwich is life and death. They didn't pack your sandwich for your climb to Mount Everest. There's a lot of gray area there. But this is an important warning in the dynamic of love, that you can have literally a 10, 20, 100, 200 times positive to one trauma, and the one trauma can erase all of that. Now, this is not necessarily logical. Meaning, if you were a purely logical person, and you know that dying alone and being lonely and being a potato veg in front of the TV is rotting your brain and it's not worth living anyway and all that, and you can have a somewhat traumatizing partner that you grow a lot with and learn with and stuff, it may be logical to choose that. But there is a survival part of the brain that will fight that. And that is important to understand about why, given that we are human beings who are not perfect, why many of us will feel unfairly judged in relationship because we did 10 things right, and the traumatic cycle in our partner's brain zeroed in high zoom magnification to the one thing, not the 10 things, the one thing we did that seems a bit threatening to them. And then when we understand that a lot of people have varying degrees of low-grade PTSD, which gets triggered actively, which means that they feel that a threat is not, here's how the brain of someone with PTSD works. You asked for the milk. Your partner said they would get it, and it's been 10 minutes. What if that was a bomb going off? What if you had just told them to defuse a bomb and they left you there? And that's not it. What if they blew up and you're completely alone and your legs are blown off? And what if the kids were involved? This is an outrage. Get that fucking milk in here. You know, what do you think you're doing? Stop being so stupid. And these little triggers with someone with PTSD activate these repressed, explosive childhood experiences in the case of someone with complex PTSD. And it is unfair on everyone because the carelessness around the milk triggers a life and death experience in the biology of someone with PTSD. The child gets re-traumatized watching their parents blow up. The woman who is careless about milk but would probably be a little bit more attentive around a bomb has no idea why milk is now the reason to get a divorce or have a new outrage. And nobody understands what's going on. And they are kept in a shell of complete illiteracy because the neighbors that hear them shouting are not going to say, oh, someone has PTSD over there, let's give them a book and give them some courses. We do not care about human beings as part of our chauvinism. Oh, that's just a fight. Stay out of that. And so this is just important to understand because it literally means that 1% going wrong can literally ruin the 99% right through a ripple effect in brain programming and chaos that is very little understood. Understanding trauma, therefore, is part of being loving. The Body Keeps a Score by Bessel van der Kolk is one of the best books for childhood abuse. Alice Miller, initially a very unpopular minority, it was gaining some traction amongst the most soulful and ethical leaders in our century. Alice Miller, For Your Own Good, books of that nature. John Bradshaw on shame, Robert Bly on grief and men's work, Marion Woodman in working with the feminine and the unconscious. So this is a little bit of a map. And I hope it helps you navigate where you are on the map. Where's your blind spots? What are your metrics? Where's the balance point? And what else can you learn that will allow you to be more loving in the discipline stint, to be loving to yourself? Not because you feel like it, not because you do or do not deserve it, but because you make a choice to be loving. And thank you for watching.